Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
All right. Robert Kiyosaki, Mr. Rich Dad, could you just wait a second before you endorse the Capital Hacking Show? We must make a public service announcement. Learn and Grow, your favorite accredited investor mastermind, the one where we can get together at one of these beautiful resorts owned by the accountable equity community and actually learn and grow together. Whether you're an investor today, thinking about it for tomorrow, or have never heard of private investing directly, it doesn't matter. This is an investor mastermind that is going to change the way you see opportunities today. We have 4 already scheduled for the year 2024. 4 in 24. They're found at accountableequity.com/learn-grow. And you're going to find out we have a March event. Sign up now. An April event. Choose that or sign up for that. An August event and a December event. And we rotate through the various accountable equity resort properties. It's time to register. Plan your entire 2024. We want to be in community with you. We can't wait to have you visit.
Here's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I can do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the big show. Josh McCowan here. Cannot wait to hear how John Edwin's doing.
I'll tell you what, Josh, you fire me up every time you come in with that tomahawk. It is so signature to our show. Guys, today we got the opportunity to interview Tim Rhode. He's one of the founders of GoBundance. He's also the founder of One Life Fully Lived, which you'll learn about in our show. He talks about some different expressions. I'll let Josh handle that. But DHB, I'm not giving that one away.
God, that's so good.
You got to hear that one. And so, Josh, why don't you take
one of the salient things here? He's going to open our minds, and this is what these mastermind shows are about, right? I mean, he's going to talk about how his mind has shifted from when he was an active player in the game of commerce, learning how to build some going from really poverty to success. That's his player stage. Then he talked about how when he moved into coaching stage, and he's going to define that. And he says now he believes he's in the owner stage of growth as an entrepreneur, as you were saying, John. But we are going to learn some things that are pivotal. These are some of the fundamental GoBundance ideas that I think, even if you're not in GoBundance, you got to hear the things that we all scream. Go get the goods in the woods is a Tim Rhode expression. Get the goods in the woods. And that expression is Tim's personality. But we're not going to tell you what it means. Tim will. And how about the one you love the most? What's that expression you love the most, John?
Learning to water ski in others' wake. And that concept changed my mindset.
It did. And wait till you hear about that one. I mean, just picture what we're saying here. There's ways to build wealth or to just build a great living. And then there's ways to leverage that. And I think he's talking about that in these expressions. And we hope they have as much impact on you as they do on us. We end by sharing that we are collaborating with this gentleman, Tim, and with others to do a massive charity event, a big, hopefully celebrity-laden golf outing, August 23rd at Renault Winery, which is the Vineyard National. Tim will be there. We'll be supporting an incredible cause. We'll talk all about that in the show. We cannot wait to have you.
Let's go.
So it has been a pleasure building out 300 episodes since we last had Tim. But today, John, we get Tim Rhode back. I cannot wait for this episode.
Tim, we are so excited to have you. You have been an inspiration, not only to me and an impact of my family, but hundreds of thousands of people. You have made an impact on their lives. And quite honestly, I'm honored that you're on the show with us. And I'm so excited for all the wisdom you're going to drop. And without further ado, tell us who you are.
Well, thank you for having me on. The last time we did this was at a GoBundance event.
That's right.
I don't even know. What year was it, Josh?
It would have been 2019. I grabbed you with a nice little recorder. It was episode 5. We talked about philanthropy, actually, because that's where your heart has been for a little while. And I know we're going to get into it, but that's how we did it. I think it would have been Breckenridge.
Got it. Okay, so that was 2019.
19.
Well, I would say if you said who's Tim Rhode, I'm somebody whose life's come full circle. I live in a small town I grew up in, Portola, California, Plumas County, very rural. I was the kid in the back of your class throwing spitballs at you and just cutting up and looking out the window, dreaming I'd be getting the goods in the woods. Why am I in this class? Are you kidding me? I was, you remember that kid? That was me. So consequently, I barely graduated high school, never went to college. And at 25, I was a part-time grocery clerk with 2 young kids, barely making ends meet and stuff. And then I found my niche selling real estate. And I was still a grocery clerk, but I went out and did an open house and I sold it, and they needed to list their home, and I took some buyers out and sold them a home. It was like my first weekend in a real estate. It was like, it is on. So for like 15 years, I cranked the song "Welcome to the Jungle," and while I chain smoked 2 packs a day. My diet. Oh yeah. When I was in the grocery, my diet was plain old fashions and maple bars, and I was just a wreck. But you can imagine trying to sit across me, wondering if I'm going to list your home or not. And I'd like pick out a pen and say, sign the freaking contract. It shit's on. So, yeah. So I did that. I got into real estate. I did that for like 15 years. And while I did that, I was buying rentals and stuff like that and living well within my means. And I was going towards financial freedom. I never knew why. I just kept going. And I remember when I was a grocery clerk, I never wanted to buy a lottery ticket because I didn't want to win. I knew I was going to do this myself. And it was just an adventure. So about 35, the rust started getting bad on the real estate thing. And I just dreamt of being in the mountains, getting the goods in the woods. I wrote something called My Dream. And I wrote it in 1997. I'd be sitting in a magical place, sitting with an outstanding view, doing some kind of cool business, giving back to my community in some way, and having all my family around, and just a very simple life where I grew up, So I made that happen. I had the dream in 97. We moved here in 2004. We sold everything in the California craze of like 2008. And I retired. I basically said the new goal is never work again. You're only gonna play, get the goods, and water ski in others' wake, like Josh and John, and let them do all of the heavy lifting and just get after it. And I started doing that. I'm 64 now. I've been doing that for 24 years now. So
there's too much here. We're going to go into the lessons. This is so good. John, I'm going to jump on it. Okay, buddy.
Yep.
John Edwin, who is also a great fan of Tim's. So we buried another lead here of all the great things you've done. I have a few salient questions, but later we're going to tell people the story of GoBundance and the origin, because that's another little surprise part. It fits the cool business model that you talked about in 1997. But let's go back to real estate for a moment. You're a real estate agent. You're a young guy. You're 25 years old. You're up against it. It sounds like things aren't great in the business of being a dad, couple kids, in the grocery store. Was that a heavy time, or were you free and at peace at that time as well?
No, I was. It's funny because I was anything but, quote, free and at peace. I was in a hell within
Right.
my head. And some of you youngsters can relate to this,
Yep.
especially all you young 20s and 30s, just that battle in your head. And when I went to work for myself, I thought, well, you better have a boss. And I called him the DHB, excuse my French, the dickhead boss. And I pretended like I was working for IBM. And that, and when I didn't want to prospect, that DHB would say, show me something. You haven't done anything. You suck. More choice words I'll leave out of this, but just really mean. You know what I mean? And I had this scared kid that said, don't make me get on the phones. I don't want to do it. You guys know this voice.
Oh, yeah.
It's fear. It's they're going to tell me no. And the DHB said, no, get on the freaking phones. And so I got to where, and by the way, the results were I was listing 15 to 20 homes every month.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Yeah, I was a machine.
You
15
are a
to
machine.
20 a month.
And you're listening to Welcome to the Jungle, right? And you got the cigarettes falling out of your lips, and you're like, you're busy, you're angry.
Don't forget the old fashions, Josh.
Yeah. Wait, did you mean old-fashioned cocktails?
No, I don't drink, and I didn't drink. My mom was an alcoholic, and I just don't.
I think you meant the Werthers. What did you mean by old-fashioned?
Plain old-fashioned donuts.
Oh.
Yeah, plain old fashions and a maple bar. Sometimes I get the jelly fills instead of the plain old. Yeah.
I love how he said that like that's like a surprise point. But we got to dig in here. So you have this DHG. This is the conundrum of everybody, Tim, in life, because you're like a sage in the group of GoBundance in a great way. We're going to get into all that. But people, when they get past the grind, like you've been past the grind, you're in a horizontal income strategy now, the wake of other people's boat. But did it take the DHG or DHB to create Tim Rhode?
That's a great question.
Fit into the story.
Boy, I wish I could tell you. I would. I meditated and I was Zen like. I'd be lying because I didn't and I wasn't.
Right.
And I don't know. I see all these youngsters within GoBundance who get this piece. And it's beautiful. And I've gone literally. The DHB was all ego. It was in my head, and the truth and the true peace is when you combine your head and your heart, and you're getting the goods in the woods, and you're treating yourself to the things that make your life special, that make you say, you know what, I want more of this. I'm going to get after it because I want to spend more time here. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get me back here all day, every day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And Josh, you just touched on it as well. When I first, and we didn't even know each other at the time, Tim, when I joined GoBundance 6 years ago, I'm so grateful to Mike McCarthy for being my friend and saying, hey, buddy, you got to join this mastermind. I had no idea about any of it, right? I didn't even know what a mastermind was. I didn't know what GoBundance was. I thought it was a charity. But when I joined, I started listening to podcasts specifically that you and Mike McCarthy and Pat Hybin and all the top guys in GoBundance, because I wanted to understand your mentality. And you talked in length about water skiing in others' wake, and it really made an impact on me. Could you explain what that means? We don't have to go in length, but at least our listeners that may not have caught that part.
Sure. So what that means is back when I was a player on the field, I was in Manteca, California, and I did all the work myself. I listed and sold real estate. And this is world one, whatever your day job is. World two is creating your passive income so you don't have to work anymore. Okay. So when I was doing world one and world two, and by the way, coaching Little League and Sarah's baton twirling, and again, the beauty of having when your own schedule. and not working for somebody else. You get to put all that stuff in there. So I did that piece myself, that World 2 piece. And then when I, quote, retired and wanted to just branch out and get into, I'm really into backcountry skiing and being a guide and all about getting the goods and learning all these new adventures. Well, to do that, something's got to give. You can only juggle so many balls. So it was like, well, why don't I find amazing people who are like I was in how you guys are in the Philly area, in the Northeast now. That's your area. You stay to your area, you do your thing. And I find super competent people who are honest, hardworking, and you can get on a call with them and you want to go out for dinner with them because you freaking like them. Those are the ones I invest in. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if something goes wrong, they'll get on the call with you and go, hey, this is what we thought was going to happen, but something came up. And I've had that happen with good GoBo fans. And I understand, like when one of our partners' partner died, of course, things, you know what I mean? Things happen in life. So anyway, so that's what the water skiing and other people's wake means, is finding super competent people that you can put your trust in, that they'll wisely invest your money for the long term, and then go about what you do best, whether that's in your day job or you're in a new incarnation for you and you want to invest more in that. So, yeah.
These are big concepts, folks, and then they're embedded in so much of what John and I've been working on for years, of trying to open our mind. Some of these are, these were naturally experienced by you. I love the 1997 My Plan or My Dream, which sounds so much like vivid vision work of Cameron Herold from just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like what you did in One Life Fully Lived, a program you helped create and launch. So there's so much here. There's a lot more we're going to get into, but I wanted to ask you to step back for a moment and talk a little bit about philanthropy and the work you've done there in the One Life Fully Lived and other work you do. Where did that show up in your life, Tim?
Yeah. Hey, do you mind if I come back to that in 1 second?
Yeah.
Because I want to finish on this topic. A very important, the vision part. You said a vivid vision. Another one of my mentors was Tony Robbins, and Tony had an OPA, and I think he changed it. The OPA's now a Muka or something, but when I went through his full course, life mastery in 2000, I paid for his whole thing, and he taught me outcome, purpose, action plan. And when I made I keep talking about incarnations, and every time I changed, what I'm gonna do with my day job, I'd have I wrote a Tim is now an investor plan in 2000, and it didn't come through till 2002. And I'd love to send you that if you want to give a package.
Love it.
Yeah. And I also had Financially Free in 2003 that didn't happen, but it turned into Kicking It in the Sticks in 2006. That did happen. I freaking crushed that plan. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So anyway, I want to provide some good, kind of like a roadmap for your peoples. Here was the dream. Here was the incarnation, from the listing to just investing. Here was from investing to goods in the woods, full on, never working again. Boom, 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 done.
Okay. So if you're offering us like PDFs or documents, we will make a special landing page about the Tim Rhode episode. We will make it super special, Tim. So we will make that happen, buddy. I didn't mean to jump you around because
if you were going to touch on that, I was going to, anyway,
What's curious about vision and all the great work you've done with goal setting And you have Pat Hyben, you have
David
Mike
Osborne,
McCarthy and David Osborne. You got David Osborne has a certain style about him, very different. These are the elders of GoBundance, and at some point here, before we get to philanthropy, you got to tell us how the heck GoBundance ever gets started, because goals are one of the major parts of it. That and accountability, I believe, are the key parts. That and adventure, good in the woods. I bet
Goods in the
you
woods.
when you're explaining GoBundance, you're going to be able to fit in there your definition of get the goods in the woods, because for those public service announcements, for those who have not yet joined GoBundance, this is a common expression we all say. Tim gets on a stage, he's like, "We got to get goods in the woods," and every time I just want to jump out of my chair, brother. So I'll let you take it from there.
You know what? And that's a perfect way to tell you how GoBundance evolved, if you will, is we weren't like geese flying in formation. We were young, not mindful yet people who all wanted our piece to be what it's all about. So naturally, David was abundance and wanted to be about, everybody's got to go this way. Pat was accountability. If you don't do what you say, you're a false prophet of the highest order. Mike was all about relationships and leading from the heart. And Tim was all about for philanthropy, and we'll definitely be talking about that piece, and B, the getting the goods in the woods. So when David, Pat, and I first started it, we were the three amigos: adventure, abundance, and accountability. And that's where, and once again, the beauty of it is we didn't mean for this to become what it is. We all just wanted our piece. It's, what it is we all just lived our piece. It wasn't, there's nothing phony about any of us. And the beauty is we've all come towards each other now. None of us
agree.
You're
saying if your superpower for Pat was accountability, he's very mindful now. I mean, he's the rickshaw driver sometimes. I mean, you're right. You've all kind of merged it. Really cool.
David's on a trip around the world with his family. He's no longer, chasing. He's just absolutely immersed into how he can be the best David Osborne he can be. And Pat's the same, and Mike the same, and Tim the same. And that's what we see in our members. And that's the beauty of what we've created. And it's so cool because Matt King says, we say, how can we help? And he goes, guys, just live your lives. Okay.
Oh, you mean that's what he tells because for definitions, Matt King's the CEO now. And you're saying he tells Tim, just live your life, Tim, as an elder. And you are building up the mission of what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so cool to, I look at it as a band now, and I know my role. I'm the bass player. I'm in the back. You know what I mean? I'm just checking out everything. And there's others who want to be out front. That's not me. I'm not the lead singer. I'm not the lead guitarist. You can tell if it goes on me and they want me to jam on the bass. Oh yeah, I'll come out, I'll rock it, and then I'll just come right.
That is such a bass player. Are you a bass player, by the way, Tim?
No, I have no rhythm and no shame.
Me neither.
You in that role for sure.
So anyway, David and Pat started as a two-man mastermind group in 1997. They met me in 2004. And we didn't start it as a business until 2003. And here we are in 2024. It's now on its 12th year. So it's thriving. It's full of life. And man, I'm just so proud of, what we've accomplished. I was with a young man yesterday skiing, Jonathan Graham. He just quit his W-2 from Apple, 15 years. And he's about to go for the next 12 to 18 months all over Latin America, just him and his dog, just finding themselves. And I'm just around these young people. John's a great example. Josh, you're a great example. But it's almost like they come into our orbit, and they've already been doing great stuff, but we're like a slingshot that just, and it's just so cool to watch everybody, rock their world in their own way. So, yeah.
Man, it is so exciting to have you on the show, Tim. So I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to start with this one. You talk about getting the goods in the woods, and you've told me that you do this every single day. Number one, why do you do that, and what impact does it have in your life? That's one. Two, tell us some of the settings that you feel are the most serene and give you the most energy at the same time.
God, that's a great question right there. Well, first of all, today is my day off, and I did a really nice stretching session. And then I broke my record for chin-ups because I knew I was going to be on this call with you guys. I may do more, but I'm at 74. I tried to do the 75th.
Wow.
And yeah. So my old record was 74. And I usually just try to do it. I do, 7 this way, 7 this way. And I did 50, and I cleaned myself up a bit, and then said, I wonder if I could do like 7. And I pulled off 8 this way and then 7 this way after 50. So felt pretty freaking, yeah. I skied 6 days straight. Some really mellow, with one with Tina, one with another, with Chris, that wasn't, just that big of a day. I skied with Jonathan, and then it's storming right now. It's going to dump overnight. And I'm going to ski Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't know when my next day off is, but it's all about it. If it's cold, low, I get to ski here and just literally climb out my back door. And I got passes at Mount Rose, Epic, Icon. So everything is, where's the best goods? I supposed to candidly been on a 1-month trip all over the West, just driving, but there's too good of snow here. So
goods in the woods means skiing. Is that basically, but it means learning from the moment as well.
Yeah, no, it means whatever it means to you. You know what I mean? And for me, it's skiing. I love disc golf. I've really gotten into that sport. I help put a course in my town, and whenever I can, I play that. I play the blues in the morning. I take my old man nap, and then I play the reds in the afternoon. Yeah. So it's kind of like
I love disc golf. That is an awesome excuse to get in the woods.
It is. It is. And it's a very zen. You're throwing a plastic object at a metal object, and it's life. If it goes in, you go, yay. And if it doesn't, you go, darn it. All right, next hole.
Right. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at that.
Yeah. It is a good zen thing. It really is. And it's funny, John, when I was young, when that DHB, when I played baseball or any kind of sport, I was so competitive, and I don't know when I lost it, and I don't know if it's a bad thing. I got nothing now. I want the other guy to win. I'm just looking at everyone's going, no, are you shitting me? Yeah.
Tim, before we started recording here, Josh and I were totally engaged when you started talking about the concept of being number 1 a player, then number 2 a coach, and number 3 an owner. Can you speak to our listeners about how that's progressed in your life?
Yeah, so think of your life and where you are on. I kind of like on the hamster wheel, if you will. Are you a W-2? Are you a salesperson? Whatever you do for your day job, and then you're there with the family and doing all the things you can do, all day that you have to do. And I'd say in that, and you're still raising your kids, so you're a player there, and so. Are you on the field and in the trenches? And my kids are raised. I watch my grandkids now. That's my job, or spend time just out to dinner with my kids. That's more of a coach still, I guess, in that realm. But mainly at this point in my life, I'm an owner. And I'm not in the trenches in any businesses, really. I have people that are doing the work. There's GoBundance, and then you guys know Andrew from DAP is a good example. He's the player and the coach, and I'm an owner in that business. And GoBundance, I'm an owner. But I'm not, rarely am I, guys, think about it. When's the last time you hear me speak? I just don't. I don't have any need. There's so many other people who are way more talented than I am. So I'm no longer in my world a player, no longer a coach. I'm solely an owner. And I think about that when what my role is in all of these businesses. And one thing we started to touch on, but we left it alone, is think about where you are. And maybe you're still a player, and maybe you should just be a coach. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe people wish that you'd step out of the day-to-day more and give them more opportunity. And maybe that's speaking to you. And maybe it's time to be an owner and no longer the coach. And you're trying to, so that's it's just a philosophy on where you are in your business and your life that I found very valuable. And these are the things I think about when I'm getting the goods in the woods. Is what's my role, and how's everything single thing going? How are all my relationships? What can I do to make something better that's kind of not the way it should be now? And that's where you get, your connection to source or God. You know what I mean? To just get your heart rate elevated, and maybe it's at the ocean instead of the mountains, and maybe for my sister-in-law, it's knitting. That's her goods in the woods. Yeah, everybody has it different. And think about that, and think about, what do you love to do that you should be doing more? Yeah.
John, I want to add to that, just if you don't mind. So Keith Cunningham, have you guys remember that guy? He wrote The Keys to the Vault and Road Less Stupid. Sure. He talks about the thinking time. And I imagine while you're going down that mountain, new thoughts are coming to you because you're in that state and reflection. So I think that you're not the only wise person that's saying this. So maybe we should listen. It's also
I'll tell you something really important. Is take a notepad with you, or a tape recorder or something, because once you get out there and you have your heart rate elevated, maybe it's your phone, or
tell me about that, Tim.
Capture those thoughts.
Yeah, well, see, I imagine that's exactly how do you do that? Let's get practical for a moment. Let's assume this morning or yesterday you were on the mountain, some ideas came to you, you picked up a recorder, you hit some record button. What are you going to do next with that?
It just depends on what it is, but it might be something as much because you and we know this scientifically. When you get out, it's just getting new ideas firing off that would never be there if you didn't. And maybe it'll entice you to say, you know what, I really like this. I want to go on a camping trip. And I've been thinking about this, and I'll do this for 3 days. And you write it down, and you get back to your car, and you call whoever you want to go with you right there. That's what you do. You know what I mean? Massive freaking action. And as I've gone forward in my life and just seen, I don't want to say there's two kinds of people, and I don't like to pigeonhole, but boy, does it make a difference between that very thing, what good does it do to write it down if you don't get back to the car because there's no cell, or maybe you write it as soon as you write it down and there is cell phone, you freaking text them, go, hey, I'm thinking about June. How's that sound? Or it doesn't happen. And that's just the tragedy of life is regrets, and to get to my age and not.
John, that makes me think about what we're doing with John Little. If that's how Tim taught us to take action. I'll let you tell that story.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, you reached out to us with Will Little and all the amazing things that's been going on in his life, and Josh and I had the honor to interview him on our last show, and he knocked it out of the park. And he came with ideas and concepts that I've never heard of. I've never heard of anybody working overnight in Amazon, then doing PD, personal development, which in the hood is known as the police department. So he's changing that mentality there and helping others for no cost, and then setting up tents throughout the city called therapy tents, where
sidewalk therapy.
Sidewalk therapy. Thank you, Josh. Where people just come in, and we're going to do an awesome golf outing at Renault. And Tim, you're a big part of that, and thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So this is probably a good time to talk about charity, and we'll weave Will into this. I met Will in 2017 when I did my first East Coast conference, and Will was a good friend of Jeff Delone, who's from Philly, and some of your listeners may know him. And Jeff knew him from Philly. He's a friend of his daughter's, and he said, "Hey, there's an event in I can't remember, Valley Forge at the Lowry's place, and I want you to come out and meet Tim Rhode from the West, and they're going to do a conference, and it'd be really cool." And his ride stiffed him. He drove an hour anyway and came out here with a lot of people who did not look like him, and took a chance, and it changed his life. And Will's just such an amazing person, and I've just come to really appreciate him and really appreciate what he brings to the table, because he walks the talk. And if you listen to his show, I get maybe this is after that, I don't know. But
it is after it. But just to explain who Will is, I mean, Will is a gentleman that has been through traumatic life situations that ended up putting him in jail. And what does he do with that? He said he made his state penitentiary, his Penn State University. And he used it to dig deep on what the purpose and what he can do to help others. And then he collides with Tim later on, and we want to keep adding fire and fuel to that fire to help Will support his community, our local community that need inspiration and mindsets, offering new pathways of your mind first, right? Isn't that the Think and Grow Rich with Napoleon Hill? He says, you got to first think about it. And this guy put energy in when he was in the state pen, but that collided with you, and you helped create some frameworks and all kinds of things you and he collaborated a lot on.
Yeah, we did a lot of work to help people get the foundational tools they need to start to live their best life. And Will's kept that work going. And I started a nonprofit called onelifefullylived.org, if you want to check it out. There's an amazing tool called the One Life Roadmap that I'm really proud that we created. It's available on Amazon and at at Amazon, One Life Roadmap. And it's things that they should be teaching in school. And it's what's your vision? Where are you going with all this? Finances. How can you control what's coming in, what's going out, avoiding debt, and what's left over to invest? There's relationships with yourself, who's your posse, who's your mentors, and then there's wellness, how to be healthy in your mind, body, and spirit to pull to rock this great life you've been blessed with. So that was our fundamental teachings, and we helped, as John said, thousands of people find their best start, and now so many are just rocketing to their best life. So it's been a pleasure to see, and that continues to be a passion for myself within GoBundance to see us as individuals, when with our families in our communities, just reaching down and helping lift others. So anyway, that's our best way.
You reminded me of when Christopher Lochhead came and spoke to us down in Austin, and he said, when you get to that, and I'm not going to use his exact words because we'd have to prompt people if kids are listening, but he said, when you get to the top of the mountain, throw down the rope. He said it a little differently. He used but he said, when you get to the top of the mountain, throw down the rope. Tim, this has been such a powerful, powerful show here. How can our listeners connect with you? Where do people find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, Tim Rhode, RHODE, and I really have nothing to sell, just so you know. I don't coach, I don't do, that GoBundance, I guess GoBundance.com, and we got DAPT, but Andrew takes care of that, so I got nothing. But you can reach out to me at tim@timrhode.com. RHODE. Yeah.
And what and the elements and the tools you shared today, we're going to make a special landing page for you on the big website. We'll have all that right in our show notes. We love having you here, Tim. Welcome back to the big show, and we'll get you back again. But this time we won't take 300 episodes. Next time it won't.
I love it. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Keep up the good work, and thank you for being such great treasures of our assets.
I like that. Thank you.
Damn straight. We just got buddy. We got to the end of another great show, and everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.